Live on News Hour Committee, live on GBC News and GTV. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Seyoko Kwakuche. Welcome to the news. The Supreme Court on Wednesday held that a Deputy Speaker of Parliament or any person presiding in the absence of the Speaker is entitled to be counted for the purpose of forming a quorum for decision-making. A 7-member panel of the Apex Court, presided over by Justice Jones Doche, also held that a Deputy Speaker of Parliament for any person presiding in the absence of the Speaker is entitled to cast a vote on parliamentary proceedings. However, many have criticized this decision, describing it as an unfortunate interpretation for convenience that sets a dangerous precedent of judicial interference in parliamentary procedure for the future. We gleaned the thoughts of a private legal practitioner, Mr. Benjamin Antiedu, on this subject. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Antiedu, and thank you so much for joining us on News Hour.
Good afternoon. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much. The minority calls the judgment as a travesty of justice, while the majority describe this judgment as refreshing. How do you see it?
Well, thank you very much. Yes, this is the usual reaction to a court judgment. Definitely, there's no draw when it comes to litigation. So one side will win and one will lose. And definitely, there will be a response from both sides. So, but personally, I have a concern with the judgment. The first is that, there are two polling numbers that are required by the Constitution when Parliament sits and takes decisions. The first one is the quorum number of 1/3 that is required to be in the chamber before Parliament can sit. For that one, the Constitution is clear that when a Deputy Speaker is presiding, he does not count towards securing the quorum number for Parliament to sit. Then the second quorum number that is found in Article 102 is the quorum number of... Hello?
I can hear you clearly. Please, can you go
so
on?
the quorum number under Article 104 is the one that is required for Parliament to take decision. So you see that we have two quorum numbers to be obtained, one for Parliament to sit and one for Parliament to take decision. So the concern here is that the Supreme Court's construction is to the effect that even though a Deputy Speaker not count towards quorum for Parliament to start sitting, it can not be counted as part of the quorum number for decision making and even vote. So it creates some kind of internal inconsistency between the relevant provisions of the Constitution. Here we're talking about Article 102 and 104. So that is where the first concern is. Then the second one is that, the Supreme Court coming to this conclusion had even declared unconstitutional Order 109(3) of the Standing Orders of Parliament. Parliament, pursuant to Article 110, has enacted standing orders to regulate its procedures and to enable it to discharge its constitutional duties. And so, making this, there is superior freedom of Parliament in making procedures to regulate its proceedings. And Parliament has made regulation respecting the right of a Deputy Speaker who is presiding proceedings of Parliament, that when you are presiding over the proceedings of Parliament as a Deputy Speaker, you lose your votes. That is what Parliament has decided. And the Constitution is silent on that. So to say that that provision sits in contravention with the constitutional provision is somehow difficult to accept. But that's my personal view. A decision of the court, and particularly the Supreme Court, It's final and effective and binding on all persons, except maybe when it's overturned on a review. So I may not agree that it's an interference with, with the parliamentary powers of adopting some procedure or directing Parliament as to what to do, but it's a regulation that is found under the Constitution, just as Parliament has its own strengths and powers under the Constitution.
So you just quoted Article 110 of the 1992 Constitution. So per this judgment, would you say that the independence of the legislature has been undermined?
Yes, that is the point I'm trying to make, that definitely the free hand given to Parliament to make its own rules or set its own procedure has been undermined. Because the Supreme Court in J.H. Mensah and the Attorney General emphasized that whatever happens in Parliament is a closed book, to the extent that once what Parliament agrees to do does not infringe on any constitutional provision, that there's total freedom for Parliament to do that, which I think in this case is one of them.
Do you see the work of Parliament suffering in any way per this ruling?
That I don't envisage that at all. Because just a clarity on this one, I think that even in the middle of the confusion or appearing confusion, this rather settles the matter and brings clarity so that the House will know what to do at any point in time. But that's not to say that I agree with the decision. But the Supreme Court acted within its powers under the Constitution, and once they have given the judgment, it's final and binding on all of us to work with it until we secure a reversal through a review.
Okay, so before you go, can this ruling be challenged? If yes, what is the process?
Yes, they can be challenged. They can be challenged, especially by the plaintiff. He can go back for a review. That is what, if he believes that there's a chance to do so. But what we must know is that the right to appeal before the Supreme Court, the right to review before the Supreme Court, I must say, is not automatic. You have to demonstrate that there was gross miscarriage of justice. In simple words, you are demonstrating to the court that it failed to apply a binding maybe decision or rule of law in arriving at a judgment. And if it had adverted its mind to a different, that the law which it ignored, the decision would have been different. And when you have a unanimous decision such as this one, then that would be a very tall order.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for your time. And Mr. Benjamin Antiedu is a private legal practitioner. Meanwhile, on Breakfast Show on GTV, the law professor Justice Abdullahi, who contested the Deputy Speaker's decision to count himself as forming a quorum for a vote on the budget, suggested that Deputy Speakers should not be members of Parliament, but be elected the same way Speakers of Parliament are elected. He urged legislators to put national interest first and not emotional or partisan interest.
The portions of the decision that seeks to make a referee, being the speaker, also a player having the right to vote, among other things. But it's the reason why I disagree a bit with that, because it takes away the neutrality and the impartiality of that person presiding from the entire discussion. And remember, nation building takes a lot of, it's a complex thing, and it requires people who are patriot, people who are non-partisan in a way. You may be partisan, but still play the role of a patriot and a citizen. And so I'm of the strongest opinion, for instance, that the same way that we get the speaker elected is the same way we should have the deputies also elected. They shouldn't be members of parliament. That way we can get the best out of them without having to limit their authority with partisan interest. What we have presently is in fact, the reason why we are in this particular situation, because if these deputies were coming from outside of Parliament, we wouldn't be saddled with these difficulties.
4 police officers and a civilian have been charged with attempted robbery and abetment of crime. The 5 suspects are being accused of allegedly taking part in a multiple bullion van robberies recorded in the Greater Accra region. On the breakfast show, Sheikh Arimeyao Shaibu called for a review of the recruitment processes to enable the service and list committed people. Dr. Lawrence Tete questioned how the 2 policemen who had earlier been arrested and were in police custody as part of investigations into the recent bullion van robberies were killed.
The process of enlistment probably must come with some challenge. What are the qualifications? What are the processes we go through to be able to really get people within the police service? It remains a challenge for the police, and I'm sure that having come to this point, the police administration could do more to ensure that we get people of decent mind who are committed to fighting crime in our society, ensuring the peace and security for our country, to be enlisted in such a very noble, I call it very noble profession and institution.
I am rather concerned, and of course beyond the political thing, I'm concerned about the fact that the police arrested the culprits and they died in the midst of the fire. For me, that's my biggest concern. Where lies our evidence then? Who are we going to use to be able to testify as to what has happened? And that is my biggest challenge. Dead men don't talk. No.
Residents of Daboya, an ancient town in the Savannah region, are appealing to the government to speed up road construction works in their community. The people say since good roads are a prerequisite for development, their town has barely enjoyed any facelift over the years due to the bad road network. They list their businesses, access to health care, and many other areas as being negatively affected. There is a report by Beatrice Senaju.
It is an hour's drive from Busunu to Daboya, a difficult journey into the community. Our excitement was short-lived as we were met with a dusty, bumpy road. Our unstable footage paints a vivid picture of that effect. It was difficult to see an oncoming vehicle whenever drivers came at top speed from the opposite direction. One has to slow down to avoid accidents on that stretch of road. Due to this, getting a vehicle to connect to nearby communities is difficult. According to residents, Daboya has existed for over 4 centuries and deserves to have better roads by now.
No access road to sell your farm produce, so we don't have roads, and you can't link your goods to the nearby market just because if you take the other route, the river is blocking, no bridge. If you take the Busunu one, the road is not good. If you call a lorry to come and pick your goods, they'll say the road is not good for it to come. If it comes, it will spoil on the way.
The people of Daboya say Busunu-Daboya Road was awarded to a local contractor in 2000, but work has still not begun since then.
Sometimes when the car comes here, even to 10 here, it's a problem. That will be 2 months ago. We are even lucky here. So, some very big accidents wanted to cause here because of the road. So it's affecting us. This is our business. Everything is running down.
This is our community. The road is not tarred. A lot of dust and other things affects our health system.
Daboya is blessed with many natural resources, and residents believe a good road network will open up their town to investors, which will in turn create jobs for them.
If you mention that we say we have heard they have given our road, Busunu-Daboya Road, 52-kilometer road on contract, it is spoiling our people's lorries. It is preventing our women from going to market. They go, lorry will shake and fall. Then the waste is paining, she cannot go. It will drop their corn, the bags, they drop and burst. And so we are losing a lot.
but not even a kilometer stretch of road has been constructed in the town.
I don't want to be quoted wrongly, but I think the whole country, we're the only district that has no tar road, which is very worrying. It's a worrying situation, So last year, somewhere 2020, 5.8 kilometers were awarded for the township, which we think that the pace at which the contractor is working is still very slow, very, very slow. If a project is awarded to you in 2020, you report to site early 2021. For me, up to now, 5.8 kilometers should not still be modern culverts.
The plea from Daboya to the government is to place high priority on their area and deliver on its promise to fix their roads. They say life must surely be made easier within the enclave. Beatrice Sanaju, GBC News, Daboya.
Talking about road infrastructure, the Roads and Highways Minister, Mr. Kwesi Amoah-Akwata, says ongoing road projects across Ghana are key on the government's development agenda and has therefore instructed road contractors to employ day and night strategies to ensure projects are completed on time. The directive came when the sector minister inspected some projects in the Greater Accra region on Thursday. GBC News' correspondent Nyakwa Branoma Walker is with the team and joins me via phone with some updates. Good afternoon, Walker.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Walker, where are you presently and which areas have you visited so far?
Thank you, sir. Currently, we are at Fintex Road, and because you asked me where we have been, let me give you a rundown quickly on places we've been already.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That's School Junction, that's at Shadowtree, which is linking through to the motorway where there will be at Boteman, where there is going to be a stadium for the 2023 African Games. So that project is there, and as well, that project is going to link even as far as Pokwase, Awoshi, and the environs through to the motorway or around at the Boteman area. He also inspected a project at Adringano Overpass. There's an overpass there that's supposed to help or ease traffic on the stretch for people so that when they are coming, going to office and going to work and coming back home, is going to ease traffic on that stretch as well.
Well, I'll get back to you to give us updates. And so, but moving on, 2 boards under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture are formally in place. The boards for the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority and National Seed Council now have the mandate to champion the government's agenda of promoting food security and ensuring sustainability.
The mission of the Irrigation Development Authority is to develop and market efficiently and cost-effectively irrigation, drainage, water management, stock water, and aquaculture services and facilities. With a new board in place, the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Wuse Friyakoto, charged members to ensure that the use of irrigated water becomes economical, whilst all rehabilitated projects are properly maintained and managed.
Reposition JIDA in a way that will make it the star of African irrigation projects. I want to see an asset management project at the same time in terms of making sure that farmers, commercial or non-commercial, who use our facilities pay for the water, because it's the waterway is going to generate the revenue for us to be able to maintain the facilities.
On behalf of the 11-member team, the chairman, Mr. Osei Usuajiman, pledged to work with the authority to address issues of sustainability, attract commercial farmers, as well as the use of technology in JIDA's operations. Next to take the oath of office and secrecy was the board for the National Seed Council. Over the past 5 years, the council has been critical to the accomplishment of the government's policy of planting for food and jobs.
In 2017, we were able to distribute 4,400 metric tons of improved seed. Last year, we did nearly 40,000 metric tons of improved seed, most of which have been produced by seed growers in Ghana. So it means that the value chain in the seed industry has been growing strongly, and with the support of the new extension services, we are on track to be able to even export to neighboring countries. As a seed council, your immediate duty is to ensure that this substantial growth in the supply of improved seed continues at an even faster rate.
Headed by Mr. Josiah Wabel, the 9-member board has begun with its duty to uphold the various requirements expressed in the various protocols, laws and directives in place to guide the seed sector. For GBC News, Shirley Annan reporting.
We're going back to our correspondent Walker, who is with the Roads and Highways Minister, Mr. Kwesiam Wakwata, who is inspecting ongoing projects. Walker, thank you very much for staying on.
Yeah,
yeah, the line dropped
yes.
Bit. So can you continue from where you left off?
Yes,
you were telling us about where you visited so far, so can you just update us briefly?
Yeah, so as I said, Junction Road, or from Ashalbotre through to the motorway at Boteman, he has inspected that one. There's another one at Drinkono, and there's an overpass through to the motorway where we have a boundary road extension. And after that, he also inspected roads at Flowerport that will link or will have some improvement from the Flowerport through to Community 18. And as well, if you take a very critical look at Flowerport area, you see there's been something like a flyover, which started some time ago, I think, under the Ezra government, but has stalled for some time. Now, it's going to continue, and the contractors have assured that by next year, 2023, that's June, they will be able to finish that project. But as some of the things that we've gathered that we think it's a problem to development is that some of the constructions that are going on, there's quarters, people have raised structures where they're supposed not to raise, and because of that, there's projects that need to stop. Some of them, especially the one at during an overpass, the minister has directed that the property owners come around so that they will have a fruitful discussion about how they are going to go about it, because it's understood that the place was redesigned. So landowners might have sold the land to the property owners over there. They didn't know that maybe something has happened or there's been a redesigning of the area. So the minister is inviting property owners to come around so that they will have a discussion about how they're going to go about that so that they can continue the project. For now, that was, I would say, everything has been successful. And the minister is saying that he's happy with the development so far.
First project site that you visited?
Excuse me?
I was asking that, can you tell us the state of those projects that you visited? Are they half complete, 90% complete? What is their state now?
For now, because the project started some time ago, none of them are completed yet, but the contractor is assuring that it will, start very soon, and in due course, as the project time that was due for the project to finish will be able to finish, and then users will have easier traffic due to their homes and also to work. And that is the reason the minister is also charging the road contractor to employ some form of day-night strategies so that they'll be able to finish it on time, so that to help the development of the country.
All right. That's all time we'll have for us for this interview. Thank you so much, Walker. And moving on, the management of the whole teaching hospital have indicated their intention to expand and extend health services to Ghana's neighboring countries, including Togo, Benin, and some parts of Nigeria. This is part of the hospital's innovative agenda towards medical tourism. The acting chief executive of the hospital, Dr. John Tampori, disclosed this during the 2021 annual performance review of the whole teaching hospital.
The 2021 annual performance review of the whole teaching hospital provided a platform for the hospital to be peer-reviewed on its corporate performance in its quest to improve healthcare delivery in the region and the country at large. It also provided an opportunity for management of the hospital to fine-tune their strategies to address challenges confronting them. The theme for the 2021 performance review was crystallizing the agenda for innovative tertiary healthcare towards health tourism. The acting chief executive, Dr. John Tampori, said the hospital is poised to become a medical center of excellence and called for the support of stakeholders, including government. The hospital's agenda for expansion and medical tourism faces some difficulties.
We intend to expand our service to other neighboring countries apart from Togo, Benin, and parts of Nigeria. We have therefore procured a fit-for-purpose van for outreach services.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, commended management and staff of the hospital for their efforts over the years and assured them the Regional Coordinating Council would support them in the expansion drive. The Director in charge of Technical Coordination at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Mrs. Martha Jansa Luchot, commended the hospital for supporting government to control the COVID-19 pandemic in the region. She said government has introduced an e-health program to improve the operation of all teaching hospitals in the country.
Female genital schistosomiasis (FGS) continue to infect women and girls globally, and to help minimize the trend, the first ever training on FGS has taken place in Accra to create the awareness and train health professionals on improving the prevention, diagnosis and treatment of the disease.
Female genital schistosomiasis (FGS) is a gynecological disease caused by untreated infection. This neglected tropical disease is widespread in Africa in rural and urban areas. 40 to 56 million women and girls are estimated to be infected with FGS globally. FGS increases the risk of HIV infection, infertility, mental health, as well as misdiagnosis as sexually transmitted infections (STI). Female genital schistosomiasis is transmitted through contact with infected water bodies. Some of the symptoms include vaginal discharge, blood in urine, genital itching or burning sensation, and pelvic pain. The training on female genital schistosomiasis is part of the FGS Accelerating Skill Together Fast package project. More than 25 healthcare professionals were trained on the prevention, diagnosis and treatment of FGS. The director of the Institute of Health Research of the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Margaret Chapon, said FGS should be integrated as part of advocacy, awareness raising and health promotion activities.
The good thing about what we are doing here is that we have a core group of people who have gone through different levels of training, and now we are training them to be trainers. So hopefully as they go about their outreach, as they go about their home visits, they'll be able to talk about it as a problem, which is a consequence of schistosomiasis.
Let's share the knowledge we acquire with others, because the more of us know about FGS, the better it will be for all of us.
A senior research fellow at the WHO Collaborating Center for Knowledge Translation, Technology Assessment for Health Equity, and an assistant professor at the University of Ottawa, Dr. Alison Krentel, called for a collaborative community efforts by the local governments and administration in the fight against FGS.
If you're in a community, you're a community leader, you're a pastor or an imam, you can create awareness within your community about the risks of schistosomiasis, the risks of contact with freshwater bodies and the risk for infection, and also creating awareness around the availability of treatment.
Some participants shared views on the training.
It's going to build our capacity and it's going to help us to enable us to render better care to people with this condition.
Civil society organizations coming together, forming a consortium, and then having funding organizations and individuals who can actually support us to do a lot more research into some of these neglected tropical diseases so we can bring more light to it to the public.
The SME training is the final stage in a series of trainings conducted as part of the FAST package. There was identification of core competencies, online training, face-to-face training, and an impact accelerator.